let's talk about buying your first property.
Yeah.
Because, we've talked to you guys already about buying, like, gaining credit and getting yourself set up to be able to buy your first property. But we haven't dived into yet, like, the money, because you have to have money to buy a house. I know you can buy a house for no money down. I don't always believe that's the smartest thing. I think you're setting yourself up for failure if you don't have money saved up. You need to learn how to save money. And I think it's harder today, not because the economy or because inflation, like, those are very real things, but, like, when I bought my first house, gas was $4. Like, I remember having to ask for a raise. I was house sitting just because I was spending more in gas than I was making. And so in any economy you're in any market you're in, the principle that you have to learn how to save money. And I think that's where both you and we have similarities in that, like, we didn't go out and rent apartments, fancy apartments right out of college. Like, we both like lived in our parents' basements, or we saved money. We didn't take out loans to buy cars. We bought cars with cash. We didn't have debt. Like, we didn't spend money. And I think why it's harder today is because social media and influence, it's so much easier to press buy on Amazon and spend $500. I mean, I can go spend $500 on makeup. Like, it's harder in that respect. And so, saving money, like, you've done a good job of that. And how have you done that?
Yeah. I think just generally, I'm such a saver. Like, I'm cheap. I don't spend money. If I absolutely need it, I'll buy it, obviously, but I don't go buy a bunch of clothes. I don't buy expensive makeup. I don't, my car, I got a car when I turned 16, which, thankfully not everyone gets that. But it's the same car I've had. I could have went and gotten a new car and a car loan, but I chose not to because, that's just more money you're spending for what? To look cool with your new car. And then I always lived at home. I lived with my parents throughout college. I didn't have to. I had money to go rent an apartment downtown or on campus or whatever, but there's no reason to spend the money. And I knew, it was important to me to have savings. That was just something I always felt like I needed to feel secure and safe and for, future whatever. So yeah, I always lived at home. I'm driving the same car. And then I worked really hard in high school. I got a ton of scholarships. I applied to probably 1,000 scholarships for college, and I got a bachelor's degree. I didn't pay anything for it. I actually got probably 10,000-15,000 a year back because
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, you do have to kind of plan ahead, think ahead. I knew I was going to college, so I knew this is what I need to do. This is what ACT score I need to get this amount of money. You just kind of do what you have to do to know that in the future, now I'm going to be able to, buy investments and all that kind of stuff.
And, another thing I think about a lot too is you don't have to have a plan. Like, if you're in college right now, you don't have to have a plan for what you want to do or what that you want to be in real estate investing. But having a plan to have money, you need to have that, because money will take you wherever you decide you want to go. So instead of thinking about, like, oh, I want to do this, or I want to invest in this, or I want to be this, like, just think about, how do I save money so when the day I decide what I want to do, I have the money to do it. I had a few scholarships, but luckily my parents paid for my undergrad and I paid for my grad school. But I did that for living at home. But I also, I had 3 to 4 jobs, even in college. Like, I worked at least at any given time. I had at least 2 jobs and full-time college. Like, I worked all the time So, I mean, I didn't ask my parents for money when I was in college. They paid for that. I paid for everything else. I didn't use credit cards. I didn't take out loans. I just, if I wanted it, I worked it. And if I didn't have enough money, I just got another job and I worked harder.
And you didn't blow it all?
No, I didn't. When I would go out, like, I would take $20 cash. Like when I go out at night, I'd take $20 cash. And I'm like, if I spent it all, I was done. Like I didn't spend more. And I think that's, you know, if you're out like partying and drinking and like not paying attention, you can rack up a lot of money and spend it. So I was just very frugal with that because I think it's easier when you don't have a lot of money to not spend because you're very hyper aware of what you have and what you need. Like I house set for a living. You know, I didn't want to have to live with my parents all the time. So I house set a lot. Like I had several clients I house set for, I dog set for. I just picked up any job. Like, you know, I helped people with like marketing stuff when I first was in grad school because I really liked that. I would just do anything that paid, like not anything. But you know, I just when you're young you have time.
Yeah.
You have more energy, you have so much time, you have so much energy. Yeah. You can work the 3 to 4 jobs. Like and I did that. And I still like it was great. I mean,
yeah.
Those are such fun times. Like looking at it now, I love, like, I never look back and was like, God, why did I work so much? Like that never crossed my mind. No. I just, like, I loved it. It was, you know, you're around people you like and the thrill of chasing your goal is so rewarding. Yeah. And, you know, getting there, like I bought my first house as a primary residence. And I lived in it for 2 years, and then I turned it into a rental property.
And how much did you put down on that?
I think I had like $12,000 that I put down. So I think it was like a little over, like 5% or something. I don't know the math exactly. My first house was $160,000, and I lived in it for 2 years. But the loan I took out, it had a lot of extra fees, like mortgage insurance and stuff like that. And about it was a little over 6 months, maybe it was closer to a year. I was just like I remember looking at my statement and I was like, there's so little going to equity. Like there's like $200 going to equity and I'm spending like $1,100 a month on this payment. And so I went to the bank and I was like, what can I do? Like, we were looking at like taking out a second loan to pay it down so I wouldn't have all these, like, even though my payment was going to be more, I was paying on equity because but I lucked out, and 6 months later when I went to do a refi, I had an appraisal and it appraised for like $17,000 more than my first appraisal. So I actually already had 20% equity in the property, which was awesome. So I just did a refinance into a conventional loan, and my payment was actually still pretty much the same. I don't know that it changed much. My interest rate was still the same, which is crazy. Like, why would you refi? But more of my payment every month was going towards equity. So I knew that if I was putting more money towards equity than these fees, and I cared more about the payment towards my equity than what my monthly payment was, that I was going to get ahead quicker. And I was going to build wealth quicker and my net worth quicker. And you don't hear that much, you know. That was huge for me. 2 years in, I actually ended up getting married. And at the time, I kind of looked out, and that my now husband, he owned his own house. He's like 4 years older than me. And so we actually turned his house into a rental property first, which was crazy. It just worked, the location and everything, and the floor plan. We moved into my house. So we made his into a rental, and he was very similar, and he was such a saver. He says I'm not a saver. I disagree, but
you save enough to get to where you want to be.
So we turned his into a rental. We moved in, and then we had kids. Within like 3 years, we turned mine into a rental property. The first year mine was a rental property, I still remember to this day, I think I was paying a little over $900 a month in the mortgage, and I was making and it was bringing in $1,100. So I was only making me $200 a month. It wasn't something major, and I do think, like, I'm curious what the numbers are on yours.
Also, though, hers, it's not only about the cash flow you're getting. So she's making $100 or $200 a month, but it's also appreciating in value every year.
Yeah, the equity.
She's building equity. The equity she's putting into it, she's going to be able to take out of it, which you can use to buy more, whatnot. We'll get into that.
But in the first 10 years, I literally, all I did not spend that extra money. I just put it back in to pay down that mortgage, to get more equity. And we'll talk on that more because that's huge. But yeah, let's, because yours is, because everybody's like, oh, that's great. You bought yours 12 years ago. The market was different. The numbers were different. But I don't know that it was.
Right. I will say today, it's kind of hard to find a good deal. But you can negotiate everything. I think people are so scared to negotiate, but you have to ask for what you want or you're never going to get it. So mine, the 2 duplexes, so 4 units, they were listed for $280,000 a piece, $280,000 a piece. I offered $250,000 a piece. They accepted it. So there's $60,000. But again, if I would have offered $280,000, that's what I would have gotten them for. So don't be scared.
And at face value, that probably didn't make much sense. Like, if what it was listed for, $280,000, like, you probably looked at it and were like, this math doesn't math.
Yeah, I think they were worth that, but I jumped on it quick and communicated well with them and was pre-approved, so I got it for $250,000. So it doesn't hurt to try. And then they're all rented out already. All 4 units. They're all at different rents. They're all around $1,000. Total rent is $4,000 a month that I'll get for all of them. And then my mortgage, taxes, insurance, everything is about about $3,000 a month, $3,300 a month, I think. So I'll make, $700, whatever it is now. As tenants move out, I'm gonna raise rents a little bit to market value because they're not at market value.
But they're also, you're going to do things to renovate them and make them nicer as well.
Probably do flooring, paint, all that stuff. And they do need a little work. I had inspections done on all of them. So yeah, they weren't kept up amazing, which is fine. I think you should buy something that you can put a little value in. If you were to buy something that is perfect, even though no home is perfect, then the numbers wouldn't make sense most of the time. So if they were, $350,000 in an amazing condition, didn't need anything, then I'd be losing money every month. So you have to know how to, find the right thing.
Your best investments actually usually are like the worst looking ones.
Yeah, it's not the prettiest thing ever, but the numbers make sense.
And a lot of times I have found, and I actually found this like with my trailer park, is that like when you see an investment that it doesn't look as good or it needs more work, there's a lot of people that get scared off by the fact that like this is going to need a lot of work, this is going to need a lot of effort, this is going to need a lot more cash to put into it after I buy, which there's also a lot of people that they might have the cash to buy, but they don't have the cash to fix it up. And so you can get a deal because you're already cutting out a segment of the market that doesn't want to have to deal with putting the sweat equity into it. And that's where you're younger. I'm not saying go buy a house with foundation issues and like all these things. Like, there's definitely a threshold, and with an experienced realtor, they can help you with that.
And we can do a video about that too. I mean, what are the major things you're looking at when you go look at something?
Right.
And then I had to put 25% down on each one. I think that was around $60,000 on each one. So I did put $120,000 down. But again, for years and years and years, everything, and I always worked, and all of that I just saved. And then, like I said, I got a ton of excess scholarships. I saved that. Lived at home, no rent, no car payment. Um, yeah, so I literally just saved everything for years and years and years. And yeah, now I'm making money because of it every month.
How long from when you first decided I want to do this till it took you to find something?
Yeah, I think I was 18 when I first was like, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm 22 now. So it was 4 years. And I think, honestly, some of it was I was scared and I didn't know, like, really what to do. And, as I've been in the industry more and gone through transactions more, I'm way more comfortable. And I don't know everything. There's a lot that I'm still learning. But I think I can figure it out. And that's really the mindset that you have to have. But yeah, it was about 4 years before I actually bought.
I think too, like, there's a lot of people that I think get discouraged because they're like, I want to buy an investment property. And I know so many people will reach out and they're like, I want to buy something. I'm like, great. And then it's like 4 months later and they still haven't found anything. And they're like, this market sucks. It's just not for me. But good investments, one, it takes time to find, and you're usually find them when you're not looking. And that's where, again, having that cash at all times, because your best investments are usually going to come to you when you're like, I'm not buying, I'm not in the market to buy, like this is a bad time to buy. That's always when you find them. And it's so frustrating because you're like, like,
yeah.
I want this so bad, but at the same time, like, I can't. It's terrible timing, but that's when you need to buy it. And when you're looking, you can't find it. And you get discouraged, and so many people will drop out before they even start because they just put this timeline. And when they don't hit it, they get frustrated. But it could take a year to find something. I mean, it took her 4 years. Like, it just...
And you have to stay ready. You have to, again, that's why you do need some cash to start. So when something comes along, you can jump on it.
And you can't start and pause and be like, oh, well, I'm going to take a pause from looking because I can't find anything.
No.
You're going to lose with that mindset. Like, so many people say, I'm just pausing because of the market or the rates or I'm not ready or something's going on in my life. Like, if the best investors are always looking. Like, you're talking to somebody that knows what they're doing. If they're like, are you looking to buy it? I'm always looking for buy it if the right deal comes along. Like, that's the mindset you have to have. And if you have that, like, it will happen. Just don't put time limits around it.
Yeah, definitely. You always have to be ready and willing. So, yeah.
Awesome. Stay tuned for our next episode.
What are we talking about in our next episode?
It'll be a surprise.